soon be a break in a decades-old murder cold case in Rowan County. Investigators say they have new evidence. Byron Monty Wisecarver, better known as Monty, was an Army Special Forces veteran. He served his country. He came back home and was living just outside Salisbury when someone shot and killed him in an ambush. Tonight in WBTV True Crime Carolinas, why investigators believe they're close to catching his killer.
Well, this was one of my favorites right here.
Memories of a father's love.
This would have been one of the last pictures we had together.
Kept in old photographs.
Some of his last words were, "Tell Adam and Brittany I love them."
Brittany Young was just 4 years old when Monty Wisecarver, her 26-year-old father, was murdered.
I'd like to know why and who, because I don't know who would want to do that to a father that's just trying to raise his kids.
Didn't have a lot of issues, wasn't in the drug culture, got out of the military, went right to work.
There's no valid reason anybody had to kill Monty.
But someone had a reason. It was early morning Friday, October 23rd, 1992. Monty went outside his home on Sherrills Ford Road to warm up his truck before work. 2 shots were fired at him at close range. One hit his throat, the other his chest. When deputies got to the scene, Monty was still alive.
He was nonverbal, but he would respond by shaking his head yes or no. And the deputies that arrived were able to get some descriptive information of the suspect.
Monty died a short time later. The most solid clue detectives had, neighbors heard someone speed away on a motorcycle.
On these cold cases, if they were easy cases, they would have been solved right away.
Rowan County Sheriff Travis Allen showed me the case file, full of pictures, diagrams, and transcripts of countless interviews with family, friends, acquaintances. Still, no definitive answers. Until years later.
One evening, I'm sitting at home with my dad, and he says, "Whatever happened to the Wisecarver murder case?" He said, "That young man used to work for me." And I was like, "Really, Dad?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "You know what was odd about that is he wasn't supposed to go to work that day."
It was a huge clue. Monty worked for Sheriff Allen's father, but he wasn't interviewed in the initial investigation. Monty didn't normally work on Fridays, but Sheriff Allen's father said he'd been called Thursday night and asked to come in Friday to work an extra shift. That meant only a few people would have known Monty would be leaving for work early that Friday morning, narrowing the list of potential suspects.
It almost like lit a fire, and I chased it as far as I could chase it. And now it's just like embers kind of fired back up. When you get new information, these cases, they kick off.
That fire has led to the discovery of new information.
We think we know what it was about, and we think we know who did it. And you know, some of the details, unfortunately, can't be released. So we keep those close to our chest.
Lieutenant Ryan Barkley says this is still a very active investigation. Detectives are collecting additional evidence and tracking down witnesses, leading them closer than ever to solving the case.
It is a mission of ours to make sure that if you've taken the life of somebody else, that you will be held accountable for it. And we don't give up on stuff like this.
The passage of time could prove beneficial as witnesses grow older and relationships change.
Where they may have protected somebody 30 years ago, they don't have that close relationship with that individual anymore, and they're not willing to protect that individual. So they often can be more forthcoming with information, and that's what we are finding in this case.
For Brittany, who's married with 6 children of her own, time hasn't healed the heartbreak of losing her father.
You know, when I've had my children, I've missed having him. You know, I don't get the joy of him getting to play with them or to know them. Just a lot of missed things in life. He didn't get to walk me down the aisle. He's missed it all, and I've missed him. And I feel like I've been robbed of that.
Brittany and the Rowan County Sheriff's Office are confident the case will be solved. When that might happen still isn't clear, but what is clear is there are new leads in the case, and Monty's death is a very active investigation.